Hello and Croeso. Welcome to Sleeve Island, the Knit and Natter part of my Calon Yarns YouTube channel. My name is Lynne and I'm coming to you from Cardiff in Wales in the UK, and here we keep each other company as we work a few rows or rounds and chat about life, loves, passions and projects. If you are new here, welcome, it's great to have you, but please don't forget to check out the main knitting podcast, which is the more traditional What's on My Needle series, and you can find that here on the Calon Yarns YouTube channel. But if you are a returning viewer, it is great to see you, good to have you back, and I look forward to catching up. So, with yarn in hand and community at heart, let's take a moment to ourselves and jump on to Sleeve Island. Welcome back, and I cannot thank you enough for all your lovely comments, thoughts, suggestions from the last Knit and Natter episode. It was really good to kind of connect with people in a different way, all of a sudden, like that. It was nice to kind of have an opportunity to share some thoughts and ideas and some stories about life and loves. It was lovely to kind of catch up with people and to put a little bit more understanding of who you all are and the stories behind each one of you, because I know a lot of you have been here for a very long time and I am very, very grateful for that. I know it's kind of been off and on and I've had a couple of years away really, but I really feel like the community is still there and we are gaining new viewers all the time, so it's lovely to have you all here. I'm not really sure how today will go, but I thought I would reflect on some of those comments that people have sent my way and just kind of give a little background about me, about why I think this Knit and Natter community is really important, and hopefully find a way that we can connect online. I've got some thoughts about that and I will share them with you in a second. Chewie's going to join us. Yes. But don't bark at people going past the window, okay? No, don't do that. You gonna have a little snuggle? Yeah? So this is Chewbacca. We have a house full of Star Wars fanatics. So yeah, you're gonna say hi? You're gonna have a little snooze now? You're very tired. Yeah. Oh, good boy. Come on then. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Alright. So yes, I am knitting on my Musselbrugh hat, although I was until I was rudely interrupted. There we go. Good boy. Snoozy time. So yes, as I say, it was lovely to have all your comments. And I think before I forget, I wonder whether quite a lot of you had said that you would be really interested in a Zoom meetup. But obviously the world is a big place and people are all over the shop. So it'll be tricky to work out time zones, but I am keen to have a go, even if we kind of have to do different time zones, even if we have to rotate those time zones. I'm happy to work this out. But I think what might be really useful is, if you are not already, could you join me on my Instagram? Let me know if you don't have Instagram and I can maybe communicate with you in a different way. But if you do have Instagram, if you could join me there. So I'll put the details here, but it's at Calon Yarns. I don't think I've got any numbers after my name. I don't think so. Because what I can do there is run like a poll to see when would be a good time, and hopefully, or actually do a poll to see where most of you are, whether it's New Zealand, Australia, America, Canada, Scandinavia. I seem to have people all over the UK, Europe, which is lovely. Welcome, it's so exciting to have everybody here. But yeah, if you can join me there on Instagram, I can put up a couple of polls to try and work out where everybody is, and then I can try and work out what time zone would best suit everyone, if that makes sense. I think so, because it would be wonderful to chat to some of you online. And I think it's really curious, isn't it? Because what came through a lot of the comments that that you sent through was just that love of community, I think, which is why I added that into our introduction, because I think that is what this is all about. And not only community for primarily women. I know we have some male members of the group, and you are very welcome here, absolutely. But yes, there are quite a lot of women in this group, and I think that community around women, community around the menopause, as we have discussed previously and no doubt we'll discuss again, and community definitely with our hobby and love for fibre, yarn, spinning, crochet, crafting in general. There's something really special about that. And I don't know about you, but whenever I go to a yarn show or a knit and natter session or a yarn shop, you always kind of feel at home straight away, because you've got this passion. And I think it is a passion, isn't it? But I think you've got this one strand, one thread that draws us all together. And it doesn't matter what your background is, it doesn't matter what your religion is, what your thoughts about the world are, you can like the same pattern as somebody else, you can like the same yarn as somebody else, and that really puts aside everything else sometimes, I think, and just draws people together. So that, I think, is something that's very special. And we were at, I say we, Carol and Tracy and I were at Stitch Fest West a couple of weeks ago. And again, chatting to people very kindly came up if they recognised me to say hello, and that was lovely to chat there. But also just in general, you know that you can rock up to a stall, sit at a table that's already busy and start a conversation, whether that's, I like your jumper, I like your sweater, where did you get that pattern, what yarn is that, or just about the show and the makers in general. And there's something very, very special about that, and it always feels very warm in the heart, when you're chatting about those projects. So yes, that's something that definitely came along in the message that were coming through. And the other thing I wanted to say was to thank you for your honesty. I know that I've been talking about work and busy and work-life balance and what that looks like as we get older, and a few of you really shared some very heartfelt thoughts about what your experiences were. And I've got some of the notes here that people sent through to me, so I'd like to kind of just mention a few people and to thank you for your thoughts, especially around how that work-life balance has, and how a lot of you still haven't worked it out, which did make me laugh. A few people, somebody said that they were 71 and they still haven't worked it out, but they'll probably work it out when they grow up, which I thought was absolutely precious. And I'll probably come to those notes in a second. But yeah, I think a few of you had said, is it Fiona, that you understand that feeling of burnout, and I don't think I am burnt out, but I can see how somebody would get that way. And funnily enough, I was listening to a podcast on the radio driving into work the other day, and they were talking about, actually, burnout often comes where you care a lot about what you're doing, and that isn't always about the workplace. That can be caring for family or friends or relatives, etc. But where you have a lot to do and you care a lot and you can't quite always complete a task, or there's not enough time, or not enough I don't know, organisational capacity, or not enough willingness if you're working with a company, I don't know. But that sense of frustration when you can't complete what you want to complete. And the reason why people often get burnt out, and it seems like either we know more about it now or that it's happening more often, is that yeah, you really care, and that's causing the frustration and the continuous frustration and the tiredness that comes with that. So I thought that was quite interesting. Often people suggested that to me, or that they had gone down to 4 or 3 days a week work, and yes, I think that's probably quite a nice balance to have. But a lot of people in the UK were talking about the fact that now the retirement age is increasing, seemingly year on year. So what is it now in the UK, 66 I think, that again, that sense of having to push on with the work-life balance, when we are more likely to have elderly relatives or be caring for our partners, that becomes a little bit more difficult as we get older before retirement. I'm curious to know actually, what's the retirement age in other parts of the world? I'm pretty sure it's 66 here at the moment. Are there plans to raise it anymore? I've got something in the back of my head that says that it's pushing up until we get to 70. I don't know. I'm not sure. So I'm 55 this year. And yeah, that's a long time, a long time to go, isn't it? And on a personal note, my mum, she passed away 10 years ago now, so she had she had her 66th birthday whilst she was quite poorly in hospital. And she was one of these people that pushed on. No, she was going to get to her retirement age because then she would be able to claim her pension. She would move down to us from Mid Wales down here in Cardiff, which she did manage to do eventually. But yeah, she really didn't have long for her retirement. I think she retired at 65 in the end. And that was quite a big decision actually, to not go all the way to the retirement age. And unfortunately it was snatched away from her, which was heartbreaking. And that as well plays, I think, on my mind, and I'm sure for everyone. We've all got situations where we think, well, no, we don't think life is precious and life is short. We know that life is precious and life is short. So, and there were a few people that shared those thoughts with me as well. So yes, that's another thing to consider. It feels like it's all very gloom and doom, but it's not. It's about embracing life, embracing challenges, embracing the things that we love. I think that's certainly what's come out of your comments from the last episode. And what else did we say? So yes, I did this in the episode. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, so I'm not sure if it's Marika M Knits or Marika Me Knits. Can you let me know how to pronounce your name, because you've left a couple of comments and I really appreciate them. But yes, having to slow down and think about the more important things, and you are keen to do a Zoom knit and natter, so I like I say, we'll try and sort out that poll. But yeah, slowing down, and your message really resonated to me, because you were talking about that you'd been in the NHS for years and years and years, and then you moved to France and were doing up a property for a few years, and now you're back in the UK, and that is something, oh my goodness, that I would love to do. I'm guessing, was that pre-Brexit? And because there's another set of rules now, isn't there, about spending time in Europe. I think it's only 90 days that we're allowed to have out of the country, or in the Schengen agreement countries. So yes, so how are you juggling everything? And then you have now got your camper van and you are touring around. So yeah, when I grow up I want to be you, I think. Marika, let me know how to pronounce your name. I do apologise. And what else were people saying? Julia from the Happy Knitting Podcast, it was lovely to catch up with you too, but you explained that you're at a different portion of your life but still understand the juggling and the trying to get the balance right between everything. So your son now is 5. I can't believe he is 5. I remember him arriving in the world. So yeah, balancing work, being a good mother, and I think a lot of us can resonate with that really. Is my yarn getting on your nerves? Being a good parent, being a good wife, being a good partner, being a good colleague, being a good workmate is difficult to juggle everything at the moment. But we can only do what we can do, and sometimes, again, it kind of leads to that burnout sense, doesn't it? When we are trying to be the best we can be at everything, and maybe reaching a little bit too far. Sometimes we kind of have to be satisfied that we have done enough in these certain areas, but slowing down thinking about what's important. Slowing down, not as in doing less, but just doing fewer things more completely. Is that what we're on to? Is focusing in on the things that are important, rather than trying to be everything to everyone. That's certainly the vibe that's coming through. And she did recommend, and I did listen to some of her podcasts, really interesting lady, Professor Joyce Harper has a podcast, as in what's it called? An oral podcast rather than a video podcast. Or she might have a YouTube podcast as well, but I was listening to her on Apple Sounds, I think it is. But yeah, very interesting lady, and I think you work with her at UCL, Julia, so worth a listen around podcasts and women, around the menopause and women's health in general. Very interesting. What else to mention, to pick up on? So M.A. Christoph, I'm not sure of your first name, I'm sorry, but you said that you've been here for a while, and thank you so much for sticking with me. And you came up with a phrase that I think is very, very important to us all. You said that this now, it's my time, in capital letters, my time, my meditation, my comfort, my challenge, and so satisfying when something turns out right. So yeah, considering thinking about your knitting journey, which I thought was lovely, a really I find it very meditative, just being absorbed in a project, which I'm sure we all do. So thank you for that comment. A lot of you saying in the US that you're wishing me well and hanging in there. I'm good, I'm fine. Please don't worry about me, but I am always one to consider how things are going. What's next? How can I improve this? How can I give myself more time for that? So, yeah, I'm okay. Yes, here we are. You said that you had this person, I don't know what your name was, sorry, that you can completely identify here about the anger of not having the information about HRT and the menopause. But you're saying that you've just celebrated your 71st birthday. Happy birthday. Wish you could offer some suggestions for balancing life, but you haven't figured it out yet either. So I enjoyed that. You will do when you grow up. Yeah, and what you suggested was doing maybe an hour of spinning or an hour of knitting. And actually I have taken your advice, because I've started to take my sock knitting to work again, and just having 20 minutes as I have my lunch, or 20 minutes away from my desk, away from my computer, which is easier said than done, but just those 20 minutes to absorb into something when I'm on my lunch break has certainly made a difference, I think. And just knowing it's there, knowing that I'm able to have that 20 minutes to reset, to recalibrate, and to and I've noticed actually that, you know, my socks are growing quicker than they do ordinarily, because sometimes when I get home it's quite difficult to get your head out of the work phase, isn't it? So yes, some good suggestions there. And I think I'm going to try and, over the Christmas break, take a little bit longer than I would do ordinarily. I've got a few more days of leave, so I might do that and get my spinning wheel out. Oh my days. Give it a good clean and an oil. It hasn't been used for a very long time. I think if I tried to use it now, it would be so squeaky. It would set everyone on edge. So yeah, I'll probably over Christmas give it an oil, give it a clean, and see if I can get my spinning fingers back in. What else? So Linda Stone said that yes, you were interested in a Knit and Natter club, would maybe love to join on Zoom if possible. So you were saying that you're near your grandchildren phase. Oh my goodness, I know Carol and Tracy both have grandchildren. I'm happy to say that I don't yet. Yeah, I'm not ready for that. No. But yes, you have traded in your caravan for a camper van and are now off on adventures. And again, I think that is the thing, is giving yourself those little breaks. Because last spring, we, in our camper van, we would go away on a Saturday morning. It was too much to do on a Friday night, but kind of pack everything up, head to the van, because we keep the van in storage, head away early Saturday morning, spend the day somewhere, hook up to a campsite or a park up for the night, and then mooch about on a Sunday, have a bit of Sunday lunch somewhere and head back. And actually just that, I don't know, barely 36 hours made all the difference. I don't think I could do that every weekend. It's quite nice to be home sometimes and kind of get some things done around the house. But yeah, that certainly feels like you are breaking up the week and just seeing something different, being somewhere different can often help, can't it? So thank you for that. Good to hear that. Trying to go somewhere each week, usually with the dog, and take a small knitting project. I hear, yeah. And what else? So yeah, I think the main thing that came out really was the Zoom knit and natter, if possible, and also that you do appreciate a little bit more of an opportunity for me to kind of keep you company. And what I'd like to do is to interview some people as well. I would hope that I can get a bit of a knit and natter with Carol and Tracy. I know we will often do a bit of a show and tell after we've been to a yarn show, but I think it would be nice to have a bit more of a natter with them, because we do talk about everything under the sun whilst we're ticking away on our projects. So it'd be nice to kind of get their perspective on their journeys through life, and a few people I know that I would be interested in, not interviewing, that sounds like I've got a panel show, I don't mean that, but just maybe getting a different perspective on life, loves, passions and projects. Oh, it's become a bit of a catchphrase, isn't it? Yeah, so we can share some ideas there. But if there's something that you'd like to consider, whether that is, you know, around a specific yarn or a dyer or a specific project, we could do a knit along maybe. Ooh, that might be nice. Oh my goodness, it's hard enough to decide what project to do for myself, let alone doing for a whole group of people, but you never know. But yeah, if there is anything else you'd like to cover, and I don't know what else to say really. I'm not one to generally be short for words, but I think I will try and come up with a theme each week that we discuss, whether that's general crafts or whether that's home life or whether that's things that I've kind of been listening to or would like to discuss in the week. But as I say, if you've got some suggestions as well, then do let me know. And hopefully we can build a bit more of a community. I will next week, maybe I'll have a bit more of a chat about me. I mean, talk about me, I don't mean that. I mean my journey in terms of what kind of brought me to knitting, what kind of brought me to working at university and starting the YouTube channel in the first place. And hopefully that sort of information I can get out of other people too, because it's quite nice to know people's knitting journeys, isn't it? Anyway, I hope that's been okay. Hopefully I'll get better at this, kind of just chatting into the void. The dog thinks I've gone mad. My daughter, Mom, is cooking Sunday dinner. It's Sunday here. I can smell the wonderful smells coming out of the kitchen. I've said I'm really busy today, I've got to get this done. So they've taken on the Sunday lunch duty, so I am quite hungry, so I'm looking forward to that. But I have made a lemon polenta cake. I'm pretty much gluten-free, so polenta cake is a real treat for me. So I've made that up this morning and can't wait to have that with some vegan ice cream this afternoon. Anyway, it is so lovely to have you here. I hope that has been okay for a first attempt at this. Yeah, hang on in with me if you can, and I will catch up with you again soon. Happy knitting, happy projects, speak to you soon, take care.